When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
The Two-Footed Podcast is brought to you by EPLindex.com and our presenting sponsor, Liberty Shield. Liberty Shield is a VPN provider. A virtual privacy network allows you to go online, change your location, access things you're geo-blocked from, while keeping your data safe. So, as an example, if you are a UK expat and want access to BBC iPlayer to watch Match of the Day, or ITV Hub, or all four, when you get that message that says this content is not available in your location, a Liberty Shield VPN gets you around that block, allows you to watch whatever you want on those services, while also keeping your data safe. And it goes further than that. It allows you to open up Netflix's entire library by just changing your IP address. Liberty Shield is the #1 rated VPN provider on Trustpilot with 5-star ratings across the board. So go to libertyshield.com right now, use the code EPL25 and get either the hardware package or the software package. The hardware package is a router that you plug into your existing router, and any item you want to change the IP address on, be it your phone or your television, you connect that to the new Liberty Shield router. All other items can remain connected to your existing router. There's also a software package, which is instantly downloadable to your device, and you can get using straight away. Again, libertyshield.com, EPL25 for 25% off at checkout. We're also brought to you by Home of Hopcroft, a giftware and homeware company located in Scotland but shipping worldwide. Check out homeofhopcroft.co.uk and do check out the EPL Index and Anfield Index shops, which you'll find on Etsy. Use the codes EPL10 or RED10 for 10% off at checkout. And lastly, do remember to check out A Tad Predictable, hosted by Tadiwa. That podcast is on this feed before every Premier League match week. And then the EPL Roundtable, hosted by Kevin DeVries, on its own EPL Roundtable feed. So just search EPL Roundtable in your podcast device. And that's out after every match week. Now, on with the show. What's good, boys and girls? Two-Footed Podcast. Today is Thursday. It is the 8th of August. Hope you're all well. The rain is pissing down. So there we have that. It is Thursday, so it is questions day. We have a couple of questions. We're also going to do a bit of nostalgia today. So we're going to start with this from Isaac Gilding. Questions for the pod. With the racist riots we're seeing in the UK right now, what do you think the clubs should do, if anything, about it? Obviously, to the extent they can do anything. I would say anyone found to have been involved in those riots, who has been arrested, charged, and convicted of offences to do with those riots, which were purely racist, nothing to do with saving countries or any of that kind of stuff. You don't save your country by robbing sausage rolls out of Greggs. You just don't. Or by robbing Crocs out of a shoe shop, or bath bombs out of Lush, or any of that kind of stuff. Those riots, well, they were twofold. One, racism, and two, looting and pillaging, which is what they always descend into when the scumbags appear on the street. But anyone charged with anything relating to these riots should be given a lifetime banning order from attending any football match. Any football match anywhere in the country. Now, obviously, if it's a pub league or a Sunday league, you can't police that, but they should be banned, certainly from the stadium of the club they support. Without question. And I would push for that to be a national ban. These people have no place in society. They are the dregs that drag everybody else down. So ban them for life. With that in mind, and without me wanting to trivialize anything, could you make an all-time 11 of the worst players imaginable in terms of their character, morally bankrupt, etc.? And then as catharsis, can we have another 11 that would fly full bore into every tackle against said evil team so that they're all setting foot in the pitch? So the hardest, soundest 11. Right. We would need to start that with, I think, Pedro Chilavert in goal. We're going to do the good 11 first. Chilavert in goal, fearless, brave, bit of a whack job, but we'll go with him in goal. In defence, Carlos Puyol will be in there for certain. Miguel Angel Nadal will be in there for certain. That might be the centre-back pairing. Going to try and keep this modern enough. Not going to go back to, Norman Hunter or Ron or Chopper Harris or any of these kind of people. Fullbacks. Stuart Pearce at left back, for sure. And then at right back, someone with plenty of oomph to them. I think you just go with Thuram. He's not messing about. So we'll go with him. Midfield, it starts with Roy Keane. We partner him with Graham Souness, and they just knock the life out of everybody around them. But you want to throw a bit of Patrick Vieira in there as well. So we'll go with those three. Souness can sit, and the other two can just roam around. And do you know what? We're going to put Mascherano at right back. We're going to go Mascherano at right back. With apologies to Lilian Thuram, we're going to go Mascherano right back. So, Chilavert in goal, Mascherano, Puyol, Nadal, and Julian Dix as the back four. Vieira, Keane, and Souness as a midfield three. And then in attack, Roberto Mancini has to be in. A head case of a human. Zlatan, no doubt. Zlatan. He's a black belt in about 14 different martial arts. And just trying to think of somebody who's got a little bit about them, shall we say. I'm tempted to go with Jamie Vardy. Just because. Yeah, I'll go Jamie Vardy. Right.
This episode is brought to you by our good friends at NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. I'm sure by now you've all gotten back into your Sunday routines, but they could be even better. With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get the most live NFL games all in one place, every game, every Sunday. And you can even watch up to 4 different games at once with Multiview, one of my favorite inventions of this decade. It's exactly what you need to catch all the action. Make your Sundays more magical. And also, YouTube TV is great. I got it this year. It's awesome. Sign up now at youtube.com/BS. Device and content restrictions apply. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right, welcome back. So, it is time for some nostalgia. And what I wanted to do was, given the Olympics are on and we've got important games over the next few days with the finals and the bronze medal matches, thought we'd take a little walk back through the Olympics. And up until 92, it was only men's football at the Olympics. But in 96... when the Olympics were held in Atlanta, women were entitled to play. And this was a huge dawn for women's football. So I thought we'd take a look at both the men's and women's teams, or the men's and women's tournaments at the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia. So, on the men's side, there were 16 teams competing, and there were 5 host cities. So, Orlando, Birmingham, Alabama, Miami, Athens, Georgia, and Washington, D.C. for reasons known only to the Americans. If we take a look at the squads, we'll start to see some really familiar names popping up. So, Group A had Argentina, Portugal, Tunisia, and the USA. In the Argentina squad, you've got Roberto Ayala, Javier Zanetti, Matias Almeida, Roberto Sensini was there as an overage player, Claudio Lopez was there, Diego Simeone was another overage player, Hernan Crespo, Ariel Ortega, and Marcelo Gallardo. That is an outstanding squad of players. For Portugal, you've got Capucho was there as an overage player. Paulo Alves was an overage player. Nuno Gomes, who went on to have a good career for the senior national team, was there. Danny, who was probably the prettiest footballer that the men's game has ever seen, was there. Tunisia, I wouldn't be familiar with anybody in that squad, but for the USA, you've got Casey Keller, who at the time was at Millwall, played in England for a long time for Leicester City, notably. Then played for Spurs after that. I think he went to Spain for a couple of years in between, also played for Southampton and Fulham. Spent most of his senior career, I think, in England. Always a solid goalkeeper. Eddie Pope, who I think to this day is the best defender America has ever produced. Alexi Lalas, who's the most overrated defender America has ever produced. Claudio Reyna was in the squad. Nelson Vargas was in the squad. Group B had Australia, France, Saudi Arabia, and Spain. In the Aussie squad, you've got Kevin Muscat, who's probably best known for being a bit of a scumbag. Mark Viduka, Steve Corica, who was a solid player. Viduka was the real star of that team, I would say. The only real star in that team. For the French, you've got a young Claude Makelele, a young Robert Pires, Vincent Candela, Olivier Dacour, Sylvain Viltord, and Sylvain Legwinski. All good players. Wouldn't know anyone in the Saudi Arabian squad, but for Spain, you've got Raul, who would go on to become a superstar. Santi was in that squad. Aitor Karanka, an outstanding centre-back, who at the time was with Athletic Bilbao, went on to play for Real Madrid. A young Fernando Morientes, who was still with Real Zaragoza at the time. Ivan de la Peña, who was, at that point, him and Raul were the two big hopes of Spanish football. Raul panned out, and unfortunately for De La Peña, he did not. Still had a solid career. But it didn't work at Barcelona. Went to Lazio, it didn't work there. Had a couple of loans, neither of them went well. But he did forge a really good career playing for Espanyol for a long time and was capped 5 times by France, by Spain rather. In Group C, we've got Ghana, Italy, South Korea, and Mexico. So in the Ghana squad, you've got Samuel Kufor, the centre-back from Bayern Munich. He was excellent in his prime. Really, really good. Christian Sabo was in the squad. Josevito was in the squad. For the Italians, Gianluca Pagliuca was there as an overage player. Alessandro Nesta is there. Fabio Cannavaro is there. Massimo Crippa was there as an overage player. Marco Branca was there as an overage player. Marco Del Vecchio was there. Gigi Buffon was there. Alessandro Pistone, who people don't remember how promising he was as a young player. Damiano Tomasi, really good midfielder. Cristiano Lucarelli, always a good striker. And Luigi Sartor was there. I think he was called up late. Don't know any of the South Koreans. I don't think. No, don't know any of the South Koreans. In the Mexico squad, Jorge Campos was there as an overage player, the legendary goalkeeper with the insanely coloured jerseys who insisted on wearing number 9 on his back. He's about the only one whose name pops out to me. No Marquez or anything like that, is there? There's not, no. In Group D, finally, then, it's Brazil, Hungary, Japan, and Nigeria. So Brazil, Dida, Aldair, Zimaria, Flavio Conceição, Roberto Carlos, Bebeto, Juninho, the one that played for Middlesbrough, Rivaldo, Zelius, who was a really good midfielder, and R9, the phenom, wore number 18. Don't know any of the Hungarians by the looks of it. Thomas Sander, his name sounds familiar. Why does his name sound familiar? He flopped at Torino, yeah, that's why. Okay, the Japanese squad then. Yes, Nakata is in that squad. 19-year-old Hidetoshi Nakata, who was an outrageously good player, but had an ego to match his talent, and once wrote a book about himself and why all of Japan owed him a thank you for getting them to the World Cup. And fair play to him for doing that. Nigeria, Celestine Babayaro, Taribo West, Nwanku Kanu, Emmanuel Amaniki is there as an overage player, JJ Akocha, Victor Ekpiba, Sunday Elise, and this is a who's who of Nigerian football. These are some of the best players Nigeria have ever produced. So much talent in that squad. Sunday Elise was outrageously good. Nwanku Kanu was one of the most talented strikers I ever saw. Taribo West was a bit mad, but he was a good defender when he was on his game. Babayaro was a really good left back and never got the credit he deserved. But JJ Koch is one of the most enjoyable players I've ever witnessed. He was just so much fun to watch. Daniel Amakachi's in that squad as well. He was at Everton at the time. So, in Group A, Portugal beat Tunisia 2-0. Argentina beat the United States 3-1. Then Argentina and Portugal played out a 1-1 draw. The US beat Tunisia 2-0. Argentina drew with Tunisia 1-1. And the US and Portugal drew 1-1. So, Argentina threw 5 points. Portugal threw 5 points. The US go out on 4 points and Tunisia out on 1 point. In Group B, Spain beat Saudi Arabia 1-0. France beat Australia 2-0. Then France and Spain played out a 1-1 draw, while Australia beat Saudi Arabia 2-1. Spain beat Australia 3-2, coming from 2-0 down, while France beat Saudi Arabia. So France threw 7 points. Spain threw on 7 points. Australia out with 3. Saudi Arabia out with no points. Group C, South Korea beat Ghana 1-0. Mexico beat Italy 1-0. Mexico and South Korea played out a 0-0 draw. Ghana then beat Italy 3-2. Mexico and Ghana played out a 1-1 draw, and then the Italians beat South Korea 2-1. Mexico threw on 5 points. Ghana threw on 4 points. South Korea out on 4 points. Despite having the same goal difference as Ghana, they scored 2 goals less. And the Italians out bottom of the group with 3 points. Well, isn't that disappointing, considering some of the players in that squad? But in fairness, Thuram, Nesta, Cannavaro all went on to do just about fine in their careers. In Group D, Japan beat Brazil 1-0. Nigeria beat Hungary 1-0. Brazil beat Hungary 3-1. Nigeria beat Japan 2-0. Brazil beat Nigeria 1-0. And Japan beat Hungary 3-2. Brazil topped the group at 6 points, then Nigeria with 6 points. Japan finished with 6 points, but go out on having a worse goal difference than the other two. And the Hungarians go out with no points. So that gives us, going into the quarterfinals, Argentina and Portugal, France and Spain, Mexico and Ghana, Brazil and Nigeria. In the quarterfinals, Portugal knock out France by 2-1. Argentina hammer Spain by 4-0. Crespo got 2, Claudio Lopez scored. There's an Aranzabal own goal in there. Nigeria beat Mexico 2-0. Okocha and Babayaro scored the goals. And then Brazil beat Ghana 4-2. Dodu scores an own goal. Ronaldo gets 2 and Bebeto scores as Brazil win. Despite having gone behind, they were 2-1 behind and roared back. In the semi-finals, Argentina beat Portugal by 2-0. Nigeria, with a golden goal in extra time, beat Brazil 4-3. They were 1-0 down. Flavio scored to make it 1-0. Roberto Carlos put through his own net. Then Brazil scored twice. Flavio and Bebeto made it 3-1 to Brazil. 12 minutes left. Ikpeba scores. Last minute of the game, Kanu scores. And then the golden goal, Kanu scores and sends Nigeria to the final. In the bronze medal match, Brazil beat Portugal by 5-0. Ronaldo, Flavio and a Bebeto hat-trick. And in the gold medal match, Argentina are beyond heavy favourites. Nobody's giving Nigeria a chance. And 86,000 people at the Sanford Stadium in Athens, which is, I think, the home of the Georgia Bulldogs. Nigeria win 3-2. Claudio Lopez puts Argentina 1 up. Babayaro equalises. Crespo scores to make it 2-1. Amakachi makes it 2-2 on 74 minutes. And Amianiki scores in the last minute to give Nigeria gold. Absolutely incredible. And through the tournament, nobody could deny they earned it, because they played 6 matches, they won 5 of them and only lost once. Argentina played 6 matches, only won 3 of them. 2 draws and a defeat. Now, Brazil might claim that they were the better team. They lost to Nigeria, simple as that. Your top goal scorers were Hernan Crespo and Bebeto with 6 each. Ronaldo got 5, Marco Branca got 4, Flavio Conceição, Florian Maurice and Kanu got 3. Claudio Lopez, Ariel Ortega, Aurelio Vidmar of Australia, Christian Saba of Ghana, Zaba Mader of Hungary, Masakio Mizono of Japan, Bakayaro and JJ Kocha of Nigeria, Alfonso Martins of Portugal, Oscar and Raul of Spain, and Brian Masanueva of the USA. All got 2. Obviously, a bunch of us scored 1. There were 4 own goals. Roberto Carlos, Dudo, Akiba, and Aranzabal scoring the own goals. Nigeria claimed gold, Argentina gets silver, and Brazil get bronze. And unfortunately for Portugal, they miss out. Moving on to, I'm just noticing the referees. Pierluigi Collina was a referee. Hugh Dallas was a referee. He was quite good as well. Don't remember any of the rest of them, but Collina was, without question, the top referee in the world at the time. So fair play to him. And even back then, Ingrid Jonsson, a female official, as the fourth official. And there were 3 female assistant referees, linesmen. Nelly Vino, Gita Holm, and Maria de Socorro Rodriguez of Mexico. So fair play. On the women's side, 8 teams, 5 venues, same venues as the men. Stanford Stadium in Athens, Legion Field in Birmingham, the Orange Bowl in Miami, the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, and the RFK Memorial Stadium in Washington, D.C. Our 8 teams are split into 2 groups. In Group A, we have China, Denmark, Sweden, and the USA. In Group B, Brazil, Germany, Japan, and Norway. No real point in going through the squads in much depth because these players won't mean anything to most of us. Certainly wouldn't know any of the Chinese players. Wouldn't know any of the Danes. I'm sure the Swedes, there's a few of them there that would have been really well known, but not to me. But the USA, I mean, Cindy Parlow, Carla Overbeck, Brandy Chastain, Mia Hamm, of course, everybody knows her. Christine Lilly, everybody knows her. Christine Lilly was 24 years of age and at the time had over 100 caps. She had 116 caps at 24 years of age. She won 354 caps. 354 caps for the USA over a 23-year career. She scored 130 goals. She's only the 4th highest goal scorer for the USA behind Carly Lloyd, who scored 134, Mia Hamm, who got 158, and Abby Wambach, who scored 184 goals. 184 goals, 255 caps. Mia Hamm went on to win 276 caps and scored 158 goals. That's crazy. In terms of the Brazilians, none of them would be familiar to me. Same with the Germans, the Japanese, and the Norwegians. But into the tournament we go. Now, these were not groups A and B. These were groups E and F because the men's tournament took groups A, B, C, and D. Why? I have no idea, but that's how it was. So, the USA beat Denmark by 3-0. China beat Sweden by 2-0. The USA beat Sweden by 2-1. And China beat Denmark 5-1. China, clearly a serious outfit back then. The USA and China played out a 0-0 draw, while Sweden beat the Danes 3-1. In Group F, Germany beat Japan 3-2. Brazil and Norway played out a 2-2 draw. Brazil beat Japan 2-0. Norway beat Germany 3-2. And then Brazil and Germany played out a 1-1 draw, while Norway hammered Japan 4-0. So, coming out of the groups, you've got China and the USA coming out of Group E, 7 points each. Sweden, 3 points and gone. Denmark, 0 points and gone. In Group F, Norway topped the group at 7 points. Brazil finished second with 5, Germany third with 4th and are eliminated, and Japan no points. In the semi-finals, it's China versus Brazil, and it is Norway versus the United States. China beat Brazil by 3-2. They had been 1-up. Qingmei scored on 5 minutes. Rosselli equalises on 67. Pratinha scores on 72. But then Haiying scores on 83 and on 90 to give China the win and send them through to the final, where they would face America, who beat Norway by 2-1. Norway went 1-up. Medellin scored on 18 minutes. Michelle Akers equalised on 76 minutes from the penalty spot. And then in extra time with the golden goal, Shannon McMillan scores to send the US through to the final. In the bronze medal match, Norway beat Brazil by 2-0. Aarons scores both goals. And then in the final, McMillan puts the US 1-up. Son equalises on 32 minutes. Stays 1-1 until the 68th minute when Tiffany Milbreth scores to give USA the win. And at their home Olympics, secure the first ever gold medal in women's football. Top scorers, Pratinha got 4. Anne-Kristen Aarons and Linda Medellin, both Norwegian, they get 4 as well. Son Qingmei and Shannon McMillan get 3 each. Xu Guhong, Wei Haiying, Bettina Weidman, Marianne Pedersen, Malene Swedborg, Tiffany Milbreth, and Tisha Venturini, they get 2 each. Bunch, obviously, with 1, and then you've got 2 own goals. Yumi Tomei of Japan and Carla Overbeck of the USA. The USA win the tournament, win the gold. China take silver, and Norway take bronze. Now, as you are aware, the finals and bronze medal matches are taking place over the next couple of days in this year's Olympics. Tomorrow, in the women's tournament, is the bronze medal match between Spain and Germany. And then Saturday, the 10th, will be Brazil versus the USA in the gold medal match. So those are both worth your attention if you get the time. In the men's tournament, the bronze medal match is underway as we speak. Morocco versus Egypt. Now, let's see. Oh, it's almost over. So that was 5 p.m. French time, which is 4 p.m. here. It's in the 86th minute of the game, and Morocco are beating Egypt by 5-0. So Morocco will be taking home the bronze medal, and unfortunately for Egypt, they won't be taking anything home. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. French time, that's 5 p.m. UK time, it is France versus Spain in the final of the gold medal match of the men's tournament. So make sure to tune in for that one, and that's it. I will be back after the break. Right, welcome back. So, Richarlison has rejected the idea of a move to Saudi Arabia, saying that while the money there might be big, his dreams are bigger, and fair play to him. Newcastle have confirmed the signing of William Ozula from Sheffield United, Danish under-21 striker. I think it's a decent buy. I think he's very promising, with Callum Wilson being the age he is and as injury prone as he is. They needed another striker, and I think this is a decent get for them at that price. Kurt Zuma is leaving West Ham to go to the UAE. He had 1 year left in his contract, but West Ham are letting him leave for free in order to free up his wages, which will tell you all you need to know about how desperate they were to get rid of him. Raheem Sterling says he misses playing for England. I'm not really sure why he hasn't played for England in recent years. He's certainly better than some players who have. Chelsea have signed Aaron Anselmino from Boca Juniors for £16 million. He will remain on loan for the rest of this season and then join Chelsea. He has signed a 7-year contract. A 7-year contract. Chelsea doing their best impression of Bournemouth this summer is hilarious. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, Renato Viega, Omari Kellyman, Philip Jorgensen, Tosin Adarabioyo, Caleb Wiley, Mark Gui. Now, I know they got Estevao as well. He doesn't arrive for 2 years. Or 18 months, or whatever it is. And now this fella who won't arrive for 6 months. These are children that they're signing. Kids. 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds who are years away from being able to produce. They're also in the process of signing Samu Amora-Dion from Atletico Madrid, who's also not ready to produce for Chelsea. I think this season is going to be a mess for them, if I'm honest. They look dreadful in pre-season. Their manager looks already a little bit out of his depth. And just do yourself a favour. Go to Wikipedia, type in Chelsea FC, click on Players First Team Squad, and just have a look at how many players they've got. It is an absolute scandal how many players they've got. It's ridiculous. And yet, you couldn't put together an 11 capable of getting top 4, in my opinion. Not that would work as a team. There's no centre-back pairing there that fits. There's no left-side centre-back, left-back pairing that fits. There's no central midfield pairing that really fits. There's no relationships between any of the defenders and any of the goalkeepers. They don't know what their line of 3 behind the striker is going to be. And they have no earthly idea who's going to score them the goals. Cole Palmer penalties, hopes and dreams. That's what they're basically banking on. Vibes. West Ham are interested in Kieran Trippier, whose future at Newcastle is yet to be decided. Manchester United are trying to tempt Sander Berge to Old Trafford. Imagine they have to try and tempt a Burnley player by offering him $100,000 a week. Former Tottenham and Chelsea boss Mauricio Pochettino is emerging as a leading candidate to be the New England manager. Yeah, I could see it. Crystal Palace want to re-sign Wilfred Zaha for a third time. I think that would be great. Genuinely, I think it would be brilliant if they did. Chelsea have agreed a £35 million deal for Amora Dion. Real Sociedad expect Martin Zubimendi to accept a move to Liverpool, although the club still need to agree a deal. Now, reports today suggest that the deal is still on and still more likely than not, but that Sociedad are trying very hard to keep him, which is understandable. Chelsea and Albania striker Amando Broja will hold talks with Enzo Maresca to work out his future. Everton and Wolves are among those interested. He just doesn't score any goals. West Ham are interested in Trevoh Chalobah and Mats Hummels. That's quite the two-pronged attack there towards fixing your centre-back issue. Crystal Palace are eyeing Chalobah and Maxence Lacroix. Lacroix, I assume, if Guehi leaves, or either of them, if Guehi leaves, they'll play on the right of the back 3. Chelsea have been contacted by Rangers over a loan for Leo Castledine. Aberdeen also interested. Liverpool are still interested in Max Bayer, but the 21-year-old wants to join Bayern Munich and is in talks with, Borussia Dortmund and is in talks with the Bundesliga club. Southampton have already received an offer from Hoffenheim for Armel Bella-Kotchap. They turned down 8.6 million from Stuttgart. Luca Digne has rejected the proposal to join Galatasaray. He wants to stay at Aston Villa. I'm not sure why he's going to be third choice left back. Brentford are closing in on the signing of Jens Kahoust on loan from Napoli. Fiorentina have been in contact with David De Gea. Valencia appear to have withdrawn from negotiations over Javi Guerra's proposed move to Atletico Madrid. I think Atletico probably can't afford Gallagher and him, given they're trying to bring in Julian Alvarez. So that would be my guess. Leicester have made an inquiry with Ajax about the availability of Steven Bergwijn. They're also, I think, in the process of getting Buenanote in on loan from Brighton. Kieran Trippier was left out of Arsenal's squad list in the programme for their game against Bayer Leverkusen. Amid rumours, he is set to leave for Real Sociedad. Now, that could make a lot of sense, obviously. Arsenal are trying to do a deal for Mikel Moreno. They can't afford to just outright buy Moreno. They have to sell. I think they had hoped they would sell Nketiah or Nelson and just be able to push that deal through. But obviously Tierney was always going to leave this summer. He was on loan at Real Sociedad last year. I think he did pretty well. He did have a couple of hamstring injuries, but I think he did pretty well. And it would make sense for him to go back there. So I think that's a deal that can probably happen. They'd be done as two separate deals, obviously. Moreno would go to Arsenal for probably 35, 36 million, and Tierney to Real Sociedad for probably 15, 16. Enzo Fernandez is set to be appointed as one of Chelsea's vice-captains, despite upsetting some of his teammates by singing a derogatory song with black players. It wasn't a derogatory song, it was a racist song. Let's be really honest here, it was a racist song. And based on how Chelsea have handled it, if he started dropping N-bombs, they probably would have given him a share in the club. That'll do me for today, folks. I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.
Sports Social Podcast Network.